Hello there. Welcome to Canada.
He really doesn't sound happy to be here, does he? Anyway, hello, this is the Canadian Grand Prix. After the action that we had from America, we can be guaranteed a fantastic race north of the American border. And there the cars lined up on the grid. On pole position, we have Minardi of Mark Webber. Second place, his teammate Alex Young. Third place, Felipe Massa, very high up for the Sauber. Pedro De La Rosa is in P4. Eddie Irvine, P5. Hopefully he'll have a better race than last time. Panis in 6th place. His teammate Villeneuve in 7th. Raikkonen is in 8th place. Heidfeld quite far down from his teammate in 9th place. David Coulthard is right behind in 10th. Williams of Montoya 11th. And Bernardi 12th. Really low down. McNish 13th and Frenton 14th, also far down. Salo and Ralph Schumacher 15th and 16th. Jarno Trulli is in 17th place. Head of the backmarker teams. Schumacher 18th, Button 19th, and Barrichello rounds out the top 20? I don't know. And they are off. The Minardis have a fantastic start. The Jaguars are side by side, and there's a very huge gap between, looks like Heidfeld and the McLarens. And that is one of the McLarens without a rear wing. That is Kimi Raikkonen without a rear wing. We have a replay of the start here. What happened to Raikkonen? Ooh. Taking a long time for the lights to go out. And away they go. Very slow start. Is it his teammate? David Coulthard, is it his teammate? Kimi Raikkonen. Kimi Raikkonen's without a rear wing. He's surely out of the Canadian Grand Prix. David Coulthard has hit him. And then he's just gone straight through into 9th place. There's Nick Heidfeld up 1 place into 8th. Villeneuve stays 7th. And Panis stays 6th also. But he's right with the leaders. Eddie Irvine stays in 5th place. Looks like there's been no change for the top positions. Felipe Massa stays 3rd. Very good scoring position for Sauber at the moment. Alex Young is in 2nd place with Mark Webber. It's still in the lead for Minardi. Hopefully Mark Webber has a better race than last time after having a gearbox failure last race. If we have a replay, this is the Williams going down the inside of the McLaren, and the McLaren, he's hit the McLaren. The McLaren is blocking everyone. One problem Montoya, because is it one problem Montoya? I presume so. Has lost its front wing against the very slow Kimi Raikkonen. Start of lap 2, we have Mark Webber leading. He's currently 1.5 seconds ahead of Alex Young. 3rd place, another 1.5 seconds behind is Felipe Massa of the Sauber. I don't believe the Saubers have got a podium yet this season, so hopefully he'll stay there. Irvine was in 4th place. Pedro De La Rosa is in 5th place. And then we have Panis 6th. Villeneuve is in 7th place. Nick Heidfeld in 8th place. He has a 2-second lead over the 9th placed man David Coulthard. And thanks to Kimi Raikkonen, Enrico Bernardi is 5 seconds behind the rest of the field, but catching rapidly. There's Bernardi's teammate at Heidfeld Frenton in 11th, and then there's the 2 Toyotas, 12th and 13th. Jarno Trulli 14th. Very good start for the Renaults. 3 positions behind. We have a replay. Mark Webber has hit the wall of champions very, very hard. And there was Felipe Massa running over the tyre. Here's a replay, different angle. His brakes just seemed to fail. He nearly went over there as well. He's just gliding across the wall of champion. And he is out of the Canadian Grand Prix from the lead. Before it has even got real going. That puts Alex Young in the lead of the race. Everyone moves off a position, which means that the 2 arrows are now in the points, but far, far away from anyone. Alan McNish did have a look at Frenson, but there's nothing going there. That Williams of Ralph Schumacher is being held up a treat by Jenson Button. And here are the 2 Ferraris right at the back, but Juan Pablo Montoya is 17 seconds behind them after having to make an early pit stop. He's already 42 seconds behind the new leader of Alex Young. Who would have thought he'd lead a race in 2002? I thought they were crazy signing the Malaysian. Sorry about that. Alex Young starts lap 4. We have Felipe Massa now in 2nd place. But he is 3 seconds behind that Minardi. Here comes Alex Young going through the chicane. We've got Massa going through the chicane now. He's in 2nd place. Pedro de Rosa is in 3rd place at the moment. Winner last time out by a 4 lap. Jaguars won the past 2 races. They're open to make it 3 in a row. Had their title charge that should have happened at the start of the season really take shape. And then we have Olivier Panis in 5th place and Jacques Villeneuve in 6th. The BARs have always looked strong. They're in the top of the table at the moment. They are hoping that for good races from here on out to steal the deal, and that is Barrichello stopped on the apex of what looked like turn 4 and 5. Barrichello is out of the race. It's a very rare Ferrari retirement there. With Bernardi was in 9th place, yeah, you just saw. David Coulthard, the culprit of the first accident involving the McLarens, guiltily sitting there in 8th place. Nick Heidfeld 7th for Sauber, looking like a very, very good point scoring positions for Saubers. And there, Juan Pablo Montoya, another victim of a McLaren, is 19 seconds back from Michael Schumacher. That is Ralph Schumacher in 16th. They are the last 2 people. Michael Schumacher there for 15th. And Jenson Button 14th with Jarno Trulli just in front of him, who was keeping pace with the Toyota of Mika Salo. So maybe they aren't as much of a back market team as they first thought. Because there is also the arrows of Enrique Bernardi, and that is a spin. A spin for Alan McNish. He's just been overtaken by his teammate Mika Salo. There's Enrique Bernardi losing time to the McLarens, surprisingly. Nick Heidfeld is having a look at the BAR. That is there's Olivier Panis, who's been overtaken by Jacques Villeneuve. He's having a small look, nothing doing there. There's no way past the BAR blockade. As they go through the 3-4 chicane. The train of 4 cars, 2 BARs, a Sauber, and the McLaren of David Coulthard, all stuck behind one another. Jacques Villeneuve the head of the queue. Looks to be pulling away from Olivier Panis, but still has quite a ways to go to catch up with the front pack of the two Jaguars. And that is Felipe Massa in second place. The Minardi looks to streak ahead though, 5.5 seconds ahead in the lead as they start the next lap. Lap 6 or 7. I didn't recall what lap they were on. What a genius. See a nice little view of the front wing there of Alex Young. As you'll be able to see the Canadian track for yourselves. Here's the 5-6 chicane. A lot more tighter than the 3-4 chicane. And then it's a little curved straight here. As to go to the 7-8 chicane. Quite a lot of chicanes in this track. And then coming down to the turn 9 hairpin. You see the crowds to your left. And then turn 10. Another small chicane. And then the very long straight go down towards the final chicane. The famous chicane. The scene in 1999 when 3 world champions crashed into that wall to the right of Alex Young. And that is a lap around the Canadian Grand Prix circuit. Now if you'd like to look at someone else, that would be much appreciated, cameraman. Alex Young leads by 5.5 seconds. De La Rosa is in 3rd. Irvine 4th. And Jacques Villeneuve in 5th. Thank you, Mr. Cameraman. Nick Heidfeld 6th place. Olivier Panis in 7th. Which means he's been overtaken by that Sauber. Here's me thinking that I wouldn't get overtaken. He'll just got overtaken. David Coulthard 8th. Spinaldi 9th. Frenson's in 10th place and has a little bit of a lead by the looks of it over the 11th place man, Jarno Trulli, which means the Toyotas have pitted. Both of them. Very early they've pitted. Schumacher 30th and really struggling in that Williams car. Alan McNish has reappeared in 14th place. There's Mika Salo 15th. Jenson Button's in 16th place. And then got Juan Pablo Montoya last of the remaining cars. Olivier Panis had a little look. Showed the nose in at Nick Heidfeld. Cool, calm, collected. Had enough. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Alex Young in the lead. Going past the 5-6 chicane. He is an incredible lead at the moment. Not as incredible as the Pedro de la Rosa lead, who is now in 2nd place, Pedro de la Rosa. But he's 8 seconds back from that Minardi. And there's Jenson Button, 17th and last. Juan Pablo Montoya has passed the Renault. There's Mika Salo, 15th, and slowly catching Alan McNish, who has tons of clear air. Frenton has appeared in front of them, 4 seconds in front, meaning that the undercut has not worked for the Toyotas. They've actually lost time to the arrows. Ralf Schumacher and Michael Schumacher line astern, and Jarno Trulli being held up by looks of it by Felipe Massa, who has pitted and is appeared in 9th place. And that is Jenson Button in a plume of smoke. The Renault is out of the race. Mika Salo 15th at the moment. Juan Pablo Montoya is now back down in last place after overtaking the Renault. Pedro de la Rosa now leads the Grand Prix. Alex Young must have headed into the pits. Olivier Panis 11 seconds back, with David Coulthard in 3rd. Alex Young in 4th and Bernardi 5th. None of these are stopped apart from Alex Young. Eddie Irvine 6th, he's pitted. Massa 7th, he has pitted also, which means Irvine has actually jumped the Sauber of Felipe Massa, which were not, and he's just been overtaken. It's Massa that's actually stuck in second gear. Massa is actually stuck in second gear, which is a disaster for the Sauber team, as they were looking for very, very good points. That's in the Jaguar of Pedro de la Rosa is now into the pit lane. There's a few other people in the pits, but the Jaguar can't escape. The McLaren has hauled Pedro de la Rosa up. The Minardi has already come past the start-finish line. There's Eddie Irvine. Eddie Irvine has jumped Pedro de la Rosa. Pedro de la Rosa will not be best friends with the McLaren team after that calamity. Pedro de la Rosa 3rd place now. Irvine's in 2nd, so the Jaguars are back where they should be on the podium. 2nd and 3rd, but a full 10 seconds behind the very fast Alex Young, who doesn't look like he's going to be stopped anytime soon. Irvine's 2nd. Pedro de la Rosa 3rd place. And there's Olivier Panis, who's ended up in 4th place. Not sure entirely if he has pitted or not. There's Jacques Villeneuve in 5th. Nick Heidfeld in 6th. I think Panis must have then pitted and has managed to jump all of these, which is surprising because he was absolutely slow. Bernardi in 8th place and Frentzen in 9th. There's the 2 Toyotas now going around the hairpin. Alan McNish in 10th. The last scoring position, Mika Salo in 11th. And there's quite a little bit of a gap of 5 seconds towards the last remaining Renault of Jarno Trulli, with the recovering Williams of Juan Pablo Montoya 13th and heading into the pits for his now 2nd stop. Surely he will be free stopping now. There was no way the fuel tanks could do 2 stops from the first lap, which means he's going to lose even more time. He's now already in last place, as we have 5 retirements currently. We have Felipe Massa, Mark Webber, Jenson Button, Rubens Barrichello, and Kimi Räikkönen. I like he's going to go through the retirements now. There's Massa, Button, and the classification has come up before the rest of them came up. Alex Young leads, 12 laps completed, leads by a full 11 seconds from the Jaguars of Irvine and Pedro de la Rosa. And then there's a little bit of a gap behind the BARs of Olivier Panis and Jacques Villeneuve. Nick Heidfeld is falling back. He's in 6th. David Coulthard's keeping a close eye on the Sauber, he's 7th. Bernardi is in 8th place and Frentzen 9th. They're a little bit of a ways away. The Toyotas are catching up with the Arrows. They're 10th and 11th. Jarno Trulli 12th, but no hope in trying to catch them Toyotas. And it looks like there's a little bit of a gap between the next cars, which we still haven't seen the 2 Williams. There's a Ferrari, and there's a Williams going past, which means the Williams are in the last 2 positions, which will not please their manager, as they should be looking higher than that. Jaguars trying to catch the Minardis. They're line astern. To go past the final chicane down towards the start finish line to start their lap 13. Olivier Panis cutting it like a dream there. I saw that, Panis. Villeneuve looking at his teammate. Obviously not going to try and overtake him, as that would be stupid. Nick Heidfeld, 6th place. Still a good position for the Sauber, but with where Massa was, surely they should have hoped they would have been bigger and better things. David Coulthard, 7th place in that McLaren. Saul remained in McLaren after he took Kimi Räikkönen out. It's not going to please the Finn. Not like he looks pleased anyway. Enrico Bernardi, 4.5 seconds back from David Coulthard. Behind Howard Frentzen. It looks like he's slowly catching his teammate. Very, very slowly. But it doesn't look like he's going to ever challenge. Alan McNish, 10th place, the last remaining points position. Mika Salo, 11th, looking at his teammate, his rear wing. Probably knows the colour scheme of that rear wing right now. Probably picture it. There's Jono Trulli. The sole remaining Renault. And we have a replay, and that is a Williams going out in a plume of smoke. And he's crashed into the wall as well, but he's out of the race. In a plume of smoke, that is Ralf Schumacher, who temporarily went into 13th after passing that Ferrari after cutting the chicane, but he retires from 14th. There's Michael Schumacher in 13th. So far we have a high attrition rate. There's Mika Salo's camera. Nowhere to be seen. He must have pitted. And then we have Jono Trulli. There's Alex Young in the lead of the race. About to start. Oh, he looks like he's already... Is he pitted? No, that's just the... He's just lapped the Williams of Juan Pablo Montoya. But he's about to start lap 16 of 22. With Eddie Irvine 10.5 seconds back. There's no way that Minardi is going to be challenged for the lead. It does look like that Minardi will get their first race win of the season to back up their second place that they got in America. Eddie Irvine. And that's Pedro De La Rosa has dropped back from his teammate. Must have gotten held up by that slow Williams. And there's a replay of Alex Young. Has something happened to the race leader? It just gone past the chicane. Coming towards the third chicane. And that is a brake failure. He's hit the rear wing off the edge of the track. That is the Minardi out of the race. So bitterly disappointed. Both Minardis looked very, very strong. And it's just a simple mistake by Alex Young. Missed his braking point. Slams into the barrier. And there's the Jaguar to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Bitterly disappointing day for the Minardis. This is now a Jaguar 1-2 with Nick Heidfeld, of all people, looking at a podium, but he is still to pit. And the Jaguars, I think, have already pitted. Not Jaguars, the BARs have already pitted, I think. So we have a new race leader. The green Jaguar of Eddie Irvine. With his teammate Pedro De La Rosa second. the Jaguar looks to be the new front force of the grid. Initially we thought it was going to be the Arrows. The first few races suggest that, but the Arrows have dropped off the pace a little bit. And then the BARs looked very, very strong. And they still do look strong. But the Jaguars are looking to be the main contenders for the championship. That was Enrico Bernardi in 4th place, but he is yet to pit. Jacques Villeneuve 5th place and Olivier Panis in 6th, which means they have swapped positions in the pits. Jacques Villeneuve is ahead of Olivier Panis and is now in a net 3rd place, with Nick Heidfeld in 7th place, but after everyone has pitted, who should be 5th place. Adam Nish in 8th place. He has overtaken that Arrows of Heinz Howard Frentzen, which will please the Toyota team. There's Mika Salo. Both Toyotas are now inside of the points, which is where they should be, but you can argue they probably won't be best pleased with the current results. Michael Schumacher there in 12th. In 11th, sorry, the 12th place is John Trulli, and the last remaining driver on track is Ralf Schumacher. And then we have a whole long list of retirements. Both Minardis are out. Trulli's out. Not Trulli. Button's out. Barrichello's out. Raikkonen's out. And another car is out. Don't know who. Completely forgot. Schumacher, Ralf Schumacher. There's a Jaguar going into the pit lane for his second and final stop of the afternoon. He turns in now to be serviced by his team. How quick is this pit stop going to be? It's a 6.9 second pit stop. It's a very quick pit stop. Not many laps to go now, so they don't require as much fuel as they used to, and is in 2nd place. But that's Coulthard. He's managed to get ahead of Coulthard. Has that McLaren pitted yet? Surely he hasn't. Surely he's not in a net 3rd. He's quite far back from the BARs. Pedro De Rosa is now in the lead by 16.5 seconds. I don't know if Coulthard needs to stop again or not. I reckon he does need to stop again. There is no way that McLaren has managed to jump all the BARs and get a 12-second lead. Jacques Villeneuve 4th place and Olivier Panis in 5th, which means the BARs should keep hold of the lead of the team's championship, but that Jaguar is catching rapidly, especially if they keep up the performances like this. Enrico Bernardi 7th place in that Arrows. Will he be satisfied with that? If you look at the grid positions, and maybe, but if you look at their past positions, that's the Toyota that's gone straight into the barrier. That's Alan McNish gone straight into the barrier of the hairpin. Both front tyres are off, and so is that rear wing. Look like that could be a stock throttle in the most dangerous area of the track. It just didn't stop. That's the Toyota out now. It's another retirement. So we now have 12 runners left in the field. And that's Jarno Trulli in 10th place. The Renault could be scoring points. It's Heinz Howard Frentzen 8th and Bernardi 7th now. which, if my maths is correct, that is 7 championship points for the Arrows. Villeneuve still 4th. Coulthard is still in 3rd place. But the McLaren boys are getting ready for a stop. He's not going to make it to the end, which will put Villeneuve back in 3rd place. There's Pedro de la Rosa into the pits, finally, for the Jaguar team. And in the background you can see that McLaren going into the pits. There's an 8-second pit stop for Pedro de la Rosa. Irvine takes the lead again of the race and looks set to win it with 2 laps remaining. Pedro de la Rosa comes out 2nd place and again looks set to be 2nd. And Jacques Villeneuve has overtaken that McLaren of David Coulthard, which means that the BAR will get that podium if all goes well. Pedro de la Rosa 6 seconds behind his teammate of Eddie Irvine, with Jacques Villeneuve 7 seconds behind him. The podiums look real set here. Oh, there's a little twitch there from Eddie Irvine, but calm, collected. The Northern Irishman shouldn't be too worried about that. The Toyota is still in the barriers. They're not going to clear him up. He doesn't look to be in much danger. With Jacques Villeneuve 3rd and Olivier Panis in 4th place. The 2 BARs line astern like the Jaguars. And then the sole remaining Sauber in 5th and the sole remaining McLaren in 6th. What could have been if David Coulthard didn't take his teammate out, and if Felipe Massa didn't get stuck in 2nd gear. But as they start the final lap, it is the 2 Jaguars in the lead, with the 2 BARs in 3rd and 4th. The 2 championship rivals look set to keep their dreams alive. Keeping the dream alive, Coulthard is looking very close to Nick Heidfeld. Is he going to have a last lap dive on the Sauber, or is it just too little too late? Surely he looks too far back now as they enter the 3rd chicane. Turns 7 and 8. It was negotiated. Now the turn 9 hairpin. He had a look. He showed the nose to the Sauber. And that Eddie Irvine has won the Canadian Grand Prix, with Pedro de la Rosa finishing 2nd for another Jaguar 1-2. The result it should have been in America. Villeneuve rounds off the podium in the BAR, with Olivier Panis 4th in the other BAR. Nick Heidfeld holds on to that 5th place. The best result for the Sauber team, with David Coulthard in 6th place. And then we've got Bernardi finishing in 7th for the Arrows team. And a little bit of a gap to the 8th place car. There is the other Arrows of Frentzen finishing in 8th. Mika Salo 9th place in the sole remaining Toyota now. And the last points position is surely going to be, Jarno Trulli crosses the finish line to finish in 10th. And then the other 2 finishers, Michael Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya. As Eddie Irvine goes back into the pits. 3 Jaguar wins in a row. Can anyone please stop them? They have won too much. There's the classified results now. Eddie Irvine wins with his teammate Pedro De La Rosa in second place. Jacques Villeneuve in third place, 13 seconds back from the Jaguars, with Olivier Panis in fourth place. Nick Heifeld, fifth. Then we have David Coulthard in sixth place. Maybe the McLarens could have been fifth and sixth, or sixth and seventh. But no! Coulthard took Kimi Räikkönen out, didn't he? The two Benaldis, the two arrows of Enrico Benaldi and Heinz-Harald Frenton, 7th and 8th. And Mika Salo, 9th, with Jarno Trulli rounding out the top 10. And Michael Schumacher finishes in 11th place, just outside of the points. I say just outside, he was 33 seconds behind. 22 seconds. He was 33 seconds behind the Toyota. Anyway, Juan Pablo Montoya is the last remaining driver to finish the long list of retirements. Alan McNish, brakes failure, puts him in the wall of the hairpin. I can't see the rest of them. Hurry up. Alex Young, another more brake failure. Brakes, a major part of the Canadian Grand Prix, both of them having brake problems. And the rest of retirements, Ralf Schumacher, Felipe Massa, Jenson Button, Rubens Barrichello, Mark Webber, and Kimi Räikkönen. That is it for the Canadian Grand Prix. We now head into our summer break. We shall see you in a week's time. Thank you for watching and goodbye.